Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Hoops and Cards. I'm Gary. I'm your host of Hoops and Cards, and some of you might be asking, where you been, man? It's been a couple weeks. Yes, it has. Welcome back. We're great. Just excited to be with you again. I am here with basketball card collectors and investors. I have lots of updates for you on these last few weeks. Done a bit of traveling for work and for family, for sure. And yeah, excited to get back at it with you. Been following the NBA and have some stories, guys. I got back my most recent group of cards from PSA to have graded, and I feel pretty good about some of the 10s that I got. Some of the lower end prospect rookie cards, like a silver Trey Murphy Prism PSA 10 or a Zaire Williams autograph Prism, or one of the things that if you follow our show or if you've listened to us for a while, that there's basically something for everybody, whatever your budget is, whatever player you like to collect, whatever kind of product that you want to have. Basketball cards have so many options for us, and today, guys, I'm excited to be back here with you with Hoops and Cards to add value to your world. Guys, it is all-star break season. It is February. Ta-da! It's already February. I can't believe it. I just stepped on my shoe. How is that a thing? I stepped on my shoe with my other shoe. I was so excited about the All-Star game. I don't know how you felt about the All-Stars that were announced as starters, but tomorrow or today, maybe when you're listening to this, they announced the reserves. And that's where I think we'll see a few surprises. Today, I want to weigh in for you on my Western Conference All-Stars and my Eastern Conference All-Stars and why I've picked those players, and then also give you a couple tips for buying, selling, or holding some of these players' cards, because that's why we listen. Guys, that's what Hoops and Cards is all about. Some of you, you're counting on making some profit, maybe by buying and selling cards, and you've been tracking with, hey, in the off season, the summer and the fall, those are good times to buy basketball cards. But now we've got lots of basketball games on TV. Now we've got a triple header on NBC, and Joel Embiid just destroying the Joker in front of everybody's business. And now we've got LeBron James driving to the basket, getting obviously mauled. No, just his wrist got slapped by Jason Tatum, and they didn't call it. And that's just the world of NBA controversy right now. But so many stars that are, fun to collect, fun to have with products. Now, maybe you don't know this. Maybe there's everything from the recently released NBA Hoops cards for this season, where you can get you some of those Benedict Mathurin's or Keegan Murray's or Jalen Williams, or if you track with me, the other Jalen Williams. Now that's got to be confusing if you are in Oklahoma City. But seriously, there's everything from the cheap NBA Hoops cards to the exquisite, the flawless, the National Treasures rookie patch auto cards, the one of one limited edition cards of incredible players. And I think now, while the market for the basketball card market to have gone through what the whole Sparks card market, the whole market was down, and I feel like now it's normal. We're back to this place where the cards reflect the seasons and the performances of the players a little more than just the hype of new products, the hype of angel investors starting company so-and-so and Gary Vee and all these other entrepreneurs. They've added some value to the hobby. They've added some clicks and some likes and some investors and some wonderful things to the hobby, for sure. It is more than a hobby. It is a great way to make some money if you pay attention. And if you, like me, you want to follow both how the player is doing and then how are the cards doing, right? So we're going to get into the NBA All-Stars, and perhaps you already know the starters were announced, based on fan and player vote. The Eastern Conference All-Star starters for 2023. There's a little bit of controversy here, but all familiar names: Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Donovan Mitchell, and Kyrie Irving. Now, all five of those guys are playing at an all-star level, but I didn't mention Joel Embiid. And here's a player who is making his case, you guys. I've been down on Embiid in the past, and I just want to hit the pause button on some of that, because last year it was the second year that he finished a close runner-up in the most valuable player voting to Nikola Jokic, and let us know about it. I feel underappreciated. Nobody's rooting for me. Like, it doesn't matter what I do. What do I have to do to get the MVP award? And I even wrote a blog post at hoopsandcards.com and said, well, here's what you have to do, man. Stay healthy. Like, you need to play more than just 2/3 of your team's games. Embiid has missed a lot of time in the last 2 seasons. So to say that he's dominant when he's on the court, yeah, that's not a surprise. But to say that he's on the court enough to beat out the ever durable all-purpose, I mean, the Joker looks like he's on his way to another MVP, unless he has more performances where he can't stop a guy like Joel. So I wish for the Eastern Conference All-Stars that they weren't so locked into, you got to have 2 backcourt players, 2 guards, 3 front court players, like forwards and centers. I wish they just play the starting 5. Everybody talks about how it's positionless basketball anyway, and you've got big guys roaming the perimeter, shooting threes, like calling them centers anyway. Like, Joel Embiid deserves to start, period. Jason Tatum deserves to start, period. Giannis, like, these are guys we've mentioned in the MVP conversation all the time, and we should. But I'm just like, forget the front court, back court. Just put Embiid in the game. Put Kyrie out. He does not deserve to start. Is he an all-star caliber player this year? Yeah. Is he fun to watch? Do the fans buy his shoes? Sure. Is he better than Joel Embiid, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis, Tatum, and Durant? No, no, not even close. And in the West, they announced the starters too. And same deal, man. There is one new face, but you got Steph Curry, you've got Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, who's playing like an MVP, and LeBron James, who's playing even more like an MVP at age, I almost said 48. What is he, 38? Yeah, 38. Dude. Like, how many times has he got to drop 40 on us at age 38 for us to stop having this silly conversation about who's the best of all time? He's about to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I've got more watchers on my LeBron James Topps rookie from 2003 on eBay than I've ever had. And now I'm like, maybe I don't want to sell it. We'll talk about that in a moment. But the other starter in the All-Star game for the East is Zion Williamson. And not that Zion isn't deserving. It's just that there are other players and other teams more impressive than the Pelicans. And the Pelicans, 1 week it looks like they're a team on the rise. The next week it's like, oh, gee, they are a wreck. And so this week we're going to talk about, I want to give you the players who are probably, most of the guys I mentioned will be all-stars or alternates. But in each conference, I could legit list 25 players who are having all-star caliber seasons, and who, if you listen to this podcast or you see us at Hoops and Cards on Instagram and you don't hear your guy mentioned, you're like, Gary, you didn't mention LaMelo Ball. Gary, you didn't mention Desmond Bane. Gary, you didn't mention whoever you wish I would have mentioned. And I could say, you know what, you're right. There's 40 to 50 guys right now who are having just stellar seasons. And yet we have to pick 13. 5 were already chosen for us, and I guess all of those are deserving. I can't complain about Zion or Kyrie being on the team, right? But there are more than 8 extra players in each conference that deserve to be recognized, that are playing like all-stars. We just got to choose 8. Sometimes a guy winds up sitting out because he only played a certain number of games, or he's just good enough to be the 9th guy on the list, right? In fact, some of the best players we'll talk about aren't going to make my list because they haven't played enough games this season. So LaMelo Ball is not an all-star. You play 25 games this season, you're not an all-star. Bradley Beal, you played 30 of your team's 50. Sorry. I'm like 60% is an F. I'm not giving you, especially when there's other players out there to look at who have showed up, who have performed, and who have put in 45, 50 plus games at an all-star level. So the other thing I want to look at when I mention each one of these players, and again, this is why you tune in, is to say, all right, are any of these guys a buy right now? And if so, what cards? If so, what cards? Because we have talked in the past that All-Star Week, here it is, 2.5 weeks away from the All-Star game in Salt Lake City, Utah. You've got Donovan Mitchell returning home. You've got Lauri Markkanen making his new home. Utah, Good luck with all this. It's going to be a good time. But seriously, how do we know as we enter into what was supposed to be one of those jumps of the sports card, the basketball card market, when you've got the all-star game and you've got the rising stars and the slam dunk and the 3-point shootout, and you got me waving my head around like anybody notices. My kids tell me I need to get a green screen. And I'm like, well, what's a green screen? No, I think I know what it is, but it'll make the quality of these videos. I don't know if it'll do anything to the audio except make me feel just so green. But in a moment, we're going to talk about who have I picked? Who would Hoops and Cards say are the deserving best 8 all-star reserves? And there may be 1 or 2 guys in each conference that you might go, because it's a new up and coming name, or it's a guy who might have a decent price on his rookie card. But we're going to be locking in and thinking about what of these players is worth buying right now, if any, as the market's going back up, and who, if any of these players, should we just make a mental note or put a note in your calendar, write it on your wall, like whatever it is, set a reminder, tell your smart speaker to say, hey, in July and August, when it's buying season, maybe that's when you remember some of these other names. So we'll get to the all-stars as they should be here in a minute.